This week, as the sun sinks low in the west, we're here to bring you Mazda CX-5 SP Turbo. CX-5 comes in that many models. There's a whole bunch of them in two-wheel drive, so that's front-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive with a range of motors. There's a diesel engine and a couple of petrol engines as well. This one has the 2.5 175 kilowatt unit that we saw in the Mazda CX last week, and it also adds all-wheel drive, which makes a world of difference to the way this car drives. It's got radar cruise control with the radar dome behind the Mazda symbol and these neat LED bendy twisty headlights. And because this is a GT SP, it gets these really cool wheels in black, which we like a lot. It's got quite a nice profile, not too big, not too small. And like Mazda's passenger cars, unlike other brands, Mazda hasn't abandoned the passenger car market. There's a small, medium and large, and it's the same with their SUVs as well. Small, medium, large. Around the back there's some LED lights and of course a fully electric tailgate. This gives you access to quite a big interior with seats that go down 40-40-20. Below the rear floor is a space saver spare and your tools. And on the side are convenient tags both sides to put the back seats down. Just a quick word before we leave here, the cargo net has this neat see-through section so that when you put the back hatch up, people from the inside can still see out. But of course it all disappears down as the tailgate goes down. And under the handle of the tailgate is the rear camera, the open button, and there's also a lock button so you don't have to schlep around the side once you've put your groceries in the car. Just put your groceries in, close it and lock it from the back. You can see in the back there's plenty of room. This model has a sunroof, so the back section is a little bit lower to accommodate all the gubbins, but there's still a ton of room in here and plenty of space underneath to get my shoes. The seat covering is a synthetic fabric, which I quite like the look and feel of, but there is very much a smell of synthetics in this car, which would eventually disappear, but those VOCs on a hot day, by God. Also in the back there are a couple of vents here on the back of the console, and the console is also where the USB points are for the infotainment system in the front. But the front's where you want to be. The doors have got some quite nice carbon effect material, the normal window controls, and a bottle holder and a little bin for long trips. I've got to add right now the Bose sound system sounds absolutely sensational. There are controls for the safety gear and hill descent control. And the driver's instruments. In this particular model, there's only a small LCD screen on this side for data and so forth. The rest are conventional dials. And anyone that's been in a Mazda the last decade will recognise these controls for smart cruise control, audio and so forth. There's dual zone climate control with a sync button, smart start to go with the smart entry, and of course there's Apple CarPlay, which is operated by the dial. There's the on-off button for the audio system, and this controls the entire infotainment system. There's also an electronic brake, a brake hold button, and the sports mode button, and we'll use that in a tick. The cabin is extremely well laid out, and like the Mazda CX sister, everything is soft with a quality feel. I like the sunglass case, but I'm unlikely to ever use it. And as I said, a sunroof, and that does open up. I like that the CX-5 is so easy to drive. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not like the previous model at all. Didn't like it. I thought it was frumpy and homely. Not very nice. This model, I think, is lovely and shiny. And the ride, even over those hideous bumps, is pretty good. Now I've got to say the acceleration from that 2.5 litre turbo is plenty. And it's because it's got lots of torque. That up. Now you'll notice on this relatively low speed, twisty road, the ride is superb, and I'll point that out again when we're on the freeway. This really is the business. Unfortunately, and I'm going to put it in sport mode now, it doesn't do anything to the dampers. They're still just as they were, and they're still soft and squidgy and cuddly to give you a good ride. Because Mazda knows that the people that buy this car, they're not going to want to take it out on the track. Why would they want to? This car is meant to transport people around town, possibly interstate, though not at the moment because we're now locked down again, which is why David's not joining us this week. And transport people comfortably and cosily. Coming down these hills, the transmission is holding itself. It is only a 6-speed, as we pointed out. This is basically the Mazda 6 wagon that we were driving last week in SUV form, albeit much newer, much newer. This car has been out since 2017 with 1 or 2 minor tweaks in between. And what that means is it's been updated and it's got all the latest tech. And that is really holding its gear nicely. Added to the driving experience, this car has paddles. So I can shift up and down to my heart's content. Now, I'm shifting up and down now and the changes are instant. They're instant and seamless. Gosh, that really is very good. But this is more top heavy than the Mazda 6 wagon was from last week. And you can definitely feel it in corners. The other thing is the steering stays unbelievably light regardless of what mode you're in. Now accelerating up onto the freeway. I've still got it in sport mode, and that was absolutely effortless. Take it out of sport mode now. And I can see everything drop. So we are now at 110 kilometers an hour. At 110, this thing is doing about 2,200 RPM. So that means that the average fuel economy since we started is 10 litres per 100 kilometres, so not exactly brilliant. And you really have to watch your speed. Gosh, it is so easy to exceed the speed limit because you're really not conscious of how fast you're going. This is a particularly smooth part of the road and it's incredibly quiet in here. It's quiet like the Mazda 6 wagon was last week. So I've now activated the smart cruise control and it's going to keep me a set distance from any traffic in front. Of course, there is no traffic in front. COVID restrictions mean there's no traffic at all. If I wanted to, I can bring up my Google Maps, which on this wide screen looks sensational. Now, I mentioned the bendy headlights as well. They've come on, so I can actually see the road lines illuminated, even though it's not quite sundown. We're still half an hour away from that. And I think that's what CX-5 has in its favour. It is a really, really good GT, Grand Tourer. And I'm going to tell you why. You don't need bags of power. The days of having 500 kilowatts to do a long trip, I think they're gone. Now, in a lot of ways, it's like the big sister, the Mazda CX-9. As you know, I'm a great fan. It's a beautiful car. It's big and it's got lovely long legs. Same engines. And I think Mazda have been really clever about the way they've done this. They've packaged it all up so that it's light and fluffy and cozy, and that anyone that buys a Mazda knows exactly what they're getting. Let me just get out from behind. That was the CX-5 warning me that it thought I was too close to the truck in front. I was miles away from it, but Mazda is safety obsessed, and it's just as well. And this has got the heads-up display, the same one that we saw in Mazda 6. In front of me, I can see what the current speed is, the current speed limit is, my active lane guidance and control, the speed I've got the cruise control set at, and whether or not the cruise control is on. As well as that, it's also got autonomous emergency braking. What this is a tool version of a Mazda CX. That's all this week for Mazda CX-5 GT SP all-wheel drive 2.5 turbo. I like it a lot. I think it has a lot of stuff in it. None of it's intrusive, and all of it feels comfortable and easy to use. As always, if you've liked the film, hit like, leave a comment, and just here to subscribe.